So guys, Aso Rock is already panicking as Festus Keyamo has come out to say that Atiku is trying to cheat on Peter Obi, that what Atiku, Rufai, Amechi are just looking for is Peter Obi's organic followers, that they just want to rob Peter Obi, that they are not going to give him the ticket of the coalition, that they just want to deceive him to join the coalition, after which they are not going to give him the ticket. Then Peter Obi will be left midway. Anyway, guys, guess what? Obedience are ready for the worst to happen, We are just waiting, and Obedience are already tweeting saying, if we should do with the ticket, as in they should hurry up, because if Peter Obi is not giving that ticket, Peter Obi is leaving the coalition the next moment. Anyway, guys, I'm going to allow you to take a look at how Rufai, Ojogbe, and the rest have reacted to the coalition and what is going on. Even Festus Keyamo's tweet, accusing Atiku of trying to rob Peter Obi of his followership. Take your time, watch this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now take a look.
The new opposition coalition in Nigeria under the umbrella of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, unveiled at the Yaradua Center in Abuja on Tuesday, has been met with mixed reactions. The event, which saw the convergence of several prominent political figures, including Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, and Nasiru El-Rufai, signaled a potential realignment of forces ahead of the 2027 general election. Former Senate President David Mark and former Minister of Interior Rauf Arigbishola took on interim leadership roles. The gathering aimed to present the ADC as the official platform for the new opposition coalition. Let's take some reactions. I'll take this from Festus Keyamo. He wrote a lengthy tweet, and I'll read it in part. He wrote, "What happened earlier today, that was yesterday, with the movement of the so-called coalition into the ADC is the greatest factor that has strengthened the APC ahead of the 2027 elections. Let me explain. By law, you cannot operate from or belong to two or multiple political parties. So it is safe to say that their open declaration for ADC today is a clear abandonment of their previous parties. In fact, belonging to two political parties is a ground for disqualification in an election. Therefore, the emergence of ADC as presently constituted marks the formal dismemberment of the PDP, hitherto Nigeria's strongest opposition party. Majority of the old guard in the PDP, who have apparently lost control of the party, have been pushed out of the party by the younger Turks within the PDP. That is why the gathering today was a conglomerate of former this and former that of the PDP. No matter how you look at it, this is just Atiku's faction of PDP in desperate search for the 2027 presidential ticket. Nothing more, nothing less. The person who the old cunning guards want to take for a ride in all of this is Peter Obi. They want his votes, but don't want to give him their presidential ticket, because this is Atiku's show, Simplicita. That is why David Mark is the interim chairman. Those who know politics know what I am saying. But if you do not give Peter Obi the presidential ticket, you lose his supporters. It is as simple as that. And how can you make someone who won two regions in the last election, Southeast and South-South, a running mate to the person who won only by one region, Northeast? Therefore, when the dust settles, you will discover that PDP and the Labour Party have lost something. The ADC have only gained something like a caricature, but the APC has lost absolutely nothing. Before I take Peter Obi's response, I would like your thoughts on what Festus Keyamo said. I mean, I think that his statement there, for me, was quite apt. Really, I mean, that's my own take, my own opinion, and that's why I thought to highlight that tweet.
Well, I beg to disagree.
Yes, go ahead.
Political tourism didn't just start with
political
the ADC.
What?
Tourism.
Tourism.
People who are hopping from party to party, they belong to one party. The other day, the metaphor I gave is that they have a passport of one party, but they have visas to visit all other parties when it's convenient. It didn't start with the ADC. So the president was set by the APC in the 2023 election, when we saw PDP governors stand boldly for the APC, and some of them even delivered their states to the APC. But it wasn't illegal at that point. So now suddenly we're saying, so I understand the point he is making. Yes, legally speaking, if you're contesting for the election, but some of these people will not be on the ballot. So there's no, what's the legal terminology? Is it locus? To say that they would be disqualified for the election. However, given the permutations, I think there's a lot to be said about the permutations that he has painted out there. What will happen to the obedience? I think that's a big conversation in all of this, because the obedience has grown in its force, and the obedience are very clear about their expectation. And we're still seeing the lingering ambition of Atiku Abubakar. And I think the real test of this coalition is going to be when it comes time to determine who is going to be the flag bearer. That's when we will see how much cohesion and love and kumbaya in spirits of one there really exists within the coalition.
Dr. Abati, did you want to chime in on Festus Keyamo's comments? Then I take Peter Obi's.
It's just basic common sense.
Yes.
You cannot belong to two political parties. These political parties, they have constitution. There's something written into all the constitutions where you say you cannot be in this party and be in that party. So it would be wrong to say that, oh, you can belong to two political parties. In a party that there is discipline, that person will be asked to leave that political party. So don't let us
They don't ask Wike to leave the PDP.
well, it's an anomalous situation. So it's an anomalous situation, and there are persons within the PDP that are saying this is very strange.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two is that whatever Festus Keyamo says, what do you expect him to say? Of course, he cannot welcome the opposition coalition that claims that it wants to remove a government that is serving from power. The third thing, of course, to say is that we should keep stressing the point that opposition politics is healthy for the growth of the democratic process, to the extent that those opposition politicians provide alternative ideas, and it's not a special purpose vehicle put together by strange bedfellows to grab power. That is where the problem can be, where it is personal interest. Now, this is not the first time, I said this earlier on, that we have had coalition politics in Nigeria, or alliances and all of that. After all, in 2018, even President Obasanjo led a group called the Coalition for CMI, Coalition for Saving Nigeria or whatever. And the objective of that coalition was to prevent President Muhammadu Buhari from getting a second term. So a number of political parties, about 8 political parties, came together in May 2018, and they said they would stop Buhari. But how did it work out? By August, some people inside that ADC, they had moved away. It was this same ADC. Yeah. They went and formed their own new ADC. Of course, in 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari won the election. And that's why I said at the beginning of this program that what transpired yesterday and what is still going to happen, because it's just at once in one, it's going to be a test of the wisdom, the political wisdom that is attributed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Okay. Will he be the owner of the game, or will he find himself in a very difficult situation? But they must be concerned. And I do not think that the PDP is going to disappear, but it is weakened. And also, the coalition poses a threat to the ruling government, to the ruling president, particularly when you look at the profile of the people that were involved in the meeting yesterday. And more persons will still join. Yes. So the game is on. Okay. And, we keep watching, we keep saying it. But the power of incumbency, they work in President Tinubu's favor. But what he must not do is to try and close the door against democracy. All right, we're not done, Rufai. The game is on. Let me take reactions. There are more reactions from this. This is Peter Obi's post on X yesterday. He wrote, yesterday, the coalition members formally adopted the African Democratic Congress, ADC, for the 2027 Nigeria general election, with distinguished Senator David Mark serving as the national chairman and His Excellency Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola serving as the national secretary. Our commitment is to sacrifice and work together towards the 2027 general election, ensuring that Nigeria gets a competent, capable, and compassionate leadership that will prioritize the nation's future by putting the welfare of Nigerians first. This decision was not made lightly. It comes from deep reflection on where we are as a country and what must be done to move forward. No one group can change Nigeria alone. To dismantle the structures that keep our people in poverty and insecurity, we must build bridges, not walls, even when those bridges are uneasy. A new Nigeria is possible. In the meantime, former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, announced his resignation from the APC on Tuesday, stating that he never believed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had the capacity to lead Nigeria. According to him, Tinubu has completely destroyed Nigeria with high inflation and economic hardship. He's quoted as saying, and I'll read his quote, "Nigeria is completely destroyed. People can't eat. There is no money to buy food. Everything is gone. Inflation is at its peak. And the federal government is busy going around trying to hijack the election. INEC is helping them to hijack the election. I left APC last night. I never attended one meeting. The last time they invited me, I won them. In fact, I was surprised that I wasn't even expelled because I won them in writing not to invite me to any meeting. I have never believed that Tinubu is a material to govern the country. I have never, because people now want Buhari to return. We see in Nigeria that when a new government takes over, it becomes worse than the previous government. People are asking for Buhari because things were better during Buhari's administration. Dollar was, I think, 460 naira or 500 and something. Well, he just quoted the high inflation at the point. But go ahead.
So let's bring out the facts. Because when politicians talk, they talk a lot. The dollar rate and the naira rate, was a lot better, during Buhari. But also, let's not also forget the fact that we took a lot of ways and means. So there was a lot of debts too that we needed to deal with. And the same ambition saying things were better during Buhari. At some point, I think, things went at loggerheads, between.
So people want Buhari back.
People clamor for, Buhari back because of the hardship that's going on. But Dr. Abati, I think I put a finger on it. You see, when people want to say things in this way, they say, oh, he studied animal science and everything. You see, my study of science, that gives me a better perspective of how Nigerian politicians behave. And I will tell you why. It's a theory in physics. As you said, anomalous. I remembered one theory called the anomalous expansion of water. Water has a unique behavior. It cools from 4 degrees to 0 degrees, then freezes to ice. Most liquid contracts as they cool. But when water reaches its maximum density at 4 degrees, then it expands as it gets colder, becoming less dense. This expansion is due to formation of crystalline structure, which bore molecules between when water freezes. So a lot of our Nigerian politicians follow the principle of the anomalous expansion of water. That's principle number 1. Principle number 2 is mercury. Have you ever wondered why when somebody changes, they call him mercurial? I will tell you based on my science training. It's coming to good news today. Mercury is a metallic element, but it is liquid when it's at standard temperature and pressure. Standard temperature and pressure, room temperature is about 25 degrees centigrade. It is known as quicksilver. So, for all the politicians that are here and are there, you will know that they are mercurial in nature. So that's the answer to your question about how Wike can be a member of the PDP and serve with the APC government and because of Katakata in the PDP. So
Rufai, we're going to continue on the conversation.
Politics,
yes,
not science.
That's the explanation.
Not chemistry.
Science explains politics.
Science explains politics. Yes. That's what you think. Okay.
Okay. There's something called social science.
Yes.
And social science is about human beings, but it's not science qua science, either in physics or in. My main point is that political parties, they represent aggregations of interests of persons who have a similar objective and who have agreed to come together, and that's why they are governed by constitution. That's why INEC talks about internal democracy, and that's why I say it's a strange and unusual situation whereby you will be in this party, you will also be in that party. If you want to be a toad, be a toad. If you want to be a fish, be a fish. Yes. So this amphibious behavior that we're trying to legitimize in Nigerian politics is unacceptable. It's a devaluation, of the standard that we have seen elsewhere. So we should not justify it. I know Rufai is talking about how people behave. What is not normal in other parts of the world has become the new normal in Nigeria. That's how to put it in political science.
More on this coalition. I just want to wrap up on the coalition. Former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, has also dumped the APC for the ADC. Malami announced his resignation on Tuesday, citing wide consultations and deep personal reflection. He described the ADC as a preferred party for a coalition dedicated to saving Nigeria from its current struggles. He also expressed deep concern over the nation's state, lamenting widespread insecurity, particularly in the north, and a crumbling economy. Malami criticized the government for prioritizing politics over citizen safety and focusing on propaganda instead of solutions, adding that he could no longer be part of a system that remained silent while Nigerians suffered. Of course, Bimba, you know that this will garner a lot of reactions. It's just ordinary 2 years ago. You were Attorney General of the Federation. Let me take this tweet from Dari, who wrote, Malami, the same man accused of looting over 800 billion naira while in office, is now preaching about justice and national renewal. Spare us the drama. If he loved Nigeria so much, maybe he should have explained what happened to those missing funds first. This is nothing but a desperate rebrand by politicians who see they've lost relevance in APC. Nigerians aren't fooled. You can't wash away years of questionable deals with sweet speeches. Do you agree with this one tweet now, Bimbai, on this comment? Let's just wrap up these conversations because this is it.
It reinforces the chemistry and the physics of the mercurialism and the anomalous. So what is the expansion of water? That at the end of the day, it's about, what is good for me. Yes. And I just hope that when it all is said and done, the people's votes will count and let the people stand for their votes. There's not enough being said about electoral reform. Yes. And that's the most unfortunate thing, is that as we're all now, taken captive by these political developments, as exciting as they may be, the concern is that the real tangible things that need to be done for 2027 to be the people's real and final vote are still pending. So, human beings will always be human beings. We're all opportunistic by nature. If you see somewhere where you think you might serve your interests in one form or another, many people are likely to jump ship, and it was Malam Abdullahi earlier who was saying that, do you want us to manufacture new politicians? These are the politicians that exist, so we have to work with what we have. Well, maybe also a call for new people to get involved in politics, to get excited in politics, even people from the private sector to take an interest as well. Let's also see some fresh faces. You can't force them. These politicians also, they're working with what they have. So,
in fact, people like you, as a Nigerian wife, get involved in Nigerian politics.
To get involved.
Well, whether we will not withdraw your SEPA.
What can we say? It's game on. Game on with the ADC. Shall we take another story now? A Rivers State local government nominee Christabel George Didier has come under fire on social media after admitting to possessing a fake degree during her Senate screening. Christabel confessed to obtaining a Bachelor's of Science degree in Human Resource Management from a now-defunct school in Ghana, which she later discovered was not accredited. Her confession in this video, which has now gone viral, has sparked a debate about integrity in public office. Let's take a look.
Through your CVs, I've seen a lot of awards received by you, but I've not seen your academic qualifications.
Okay.
Can you take us through that?
Yes. Regrettably, I use the word, once owned a BLc in Human Resource Management with the School of Management Studies, which is an affiliate of Kwame Nkrumah University, because I lived in Ghana. I use the word regrettably because by the time I came back to Nigeria just before the pandemic, I was so disappointed to find out that the school was a scam. So I preferred not to talk about it. So I had to quickly pick a form with the National Open University, where I'm presently studying peace and conflict resolution, and that will be done soon. But before then also, I did OND, Banking and Finance, on Financial Studies with River State Polytechnic, Bori.
Is that an next year? Is he here?
Yes, but there's an affidavit I attached to the...
No, is a certificate here?
That's what I'm saying. I have an affidavit at the back to my lost document.
That is to say the certificate is not here?
Yes.
That is the question. Leader,
And then,
let me now proceed further. I congratulate you. Let's proceed. Thank you.
okay.
So guys, I want to quickly take you through a reaction on the social media, on Twitter to be specific. There's this guy that made a video accusing the Very Dark Man, because the Very Dark Man equally made a video before now, you know, criticizing the coalition, you know. The Very Dark Man say all these people regrouping are just criminals. Who is not a criminal when it comes to the Nigerian politician? It's only Peter Obi that has stood out, you know. But now we are talking about removing Tinubu, and Tinubu is a very fast politician. If you can remember, all those who work against Tinubu in the last election, immediately the Supreme Court declared Tinubu winner of that election. Tinubu started negotiating with all his critics, trying to buy them over. Tinubu does not keep malice when it comes to politics, and that is what makes him to win. It's not as if Tinubu is that smart, but he knows how to talk to his enemies to convince them to join his camp. That's Tinubu for you. Now, Tinubu is already trying to make the politicians to come on his side, you know, whether by fire, by force, come and support me for re-election 2027. So looking at the trend, the way things are going, democracy is being buried. What do you expect? Peter Obi cannot really run alone, considering the mess in the Labour Party and all that. So Peter Obi has to form a force, because if he goes to start forming a new party, it's still not going to easily work like that, because it takes time, you know. He still has some of his men left behind the Labour Party. So Peter Obi needs a new coalition. And guess what? Because our political class is full of mess, it's difficult to find people who are clean, like that's Ahmed and Peter Obi. It's difficult. That's why they've decided to join this coalition. But people are criticizing the coalition. The Very Dark Man is one of them. But this guy made a video warning the Very Dark Man that if you criticize ADC is the only solution to change Nigeria now. If you dare criticize this coalition, Nigerians are going to come for you. And I'm just going to take you through some of the reactions coming from people after this guy made a video warning the Very Dark Man not to dare criticize the opposition. Now, this person say the most frequent question I've heard some people ask is the obedience who now support the ADC coalition. Is Atiku no longer a problem of Nigeria like he was painted before? Here comes the answer. The major focus in this coalition is Peter Obi, and the support of everyone and anyone is welcome, as long as Obi is the chief pilot of the new Nigerian vision. So if Tinubu and his bandwagon should step down today to support Peter Obi for a better Nigeria, we will not welcome and commend them for doing the needful. We won't forget their reign of terror, but we won't. Okay, that we will welcome them, but we will not forget their reign of terror. All we want is the right person who will push Nigeria forward and set Nigeria on the path of progress. If achieving this feat will require the wrong persons coming together to make a right decision, you know, that will work for all Nigerians, then it's a win-win situation for all Nigerians. This other person reacted and said, This guy is just ranting. What VDM said wasn't wrong. The coalition is filled with some people that put Nigeria in a predicament. In the predicament we are currently in. They were instrumental to the economical, political, social collapse of our country. Yes, Obi cannot achieve what he has in mind, make Nigeria better than it is without this coalition. But that doesn't change the fact that 99% of the big names in the coalition are corrupt and wouldn't get my support if Peter Obi wasn't involved. Us obedience should stop this nonsense when we call out anyone, that questions Obi or his action. This other person said, with all this white hair, you still need to be reminded that there is no real difference between APC and ADC. They are all the same. In the same country, they will all be in jail now. The removal of Jonathan had nothing to do with any coalition. It was simply the only time a democratic election genuinely prevailed in Nigeria. Apart from that, we have never truly unseated a ruling party. No matter what you do now, but we still win. Because there is no real democracy until Nigerian youth rise up and take their stance against these old criminals. Nothing will ever change. So guys, a whole lot of other reactions. I don't know what you make of this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.